Hi students, welcome back to fourth grade. Today we're going to be doing our very first art project of the year. I sent home a white piece of paper for you to use. In fact, I put a few pieces of paper in there for this art project because I've noticed that sometimes kids screw up on it and they want to start over. So I gave you a few start over sheets of paper. You will also be able to get to these instructions through the link, or you can just watch this video. And remember, you can pause it anytime you need to catch up with where we're at. So I want you to take a look at what our final product is going to look like. Today we're going to be doing a half portrait with our name, and it's going to be the first thing that we put up on our wall in our classroom when we're back in hybrid. This one's an example of mine that I did last year, but today I'm going to do one with you as you practice it. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I want you to make sure that you have these materials. You're going to need a white sheet of paper, one of the ones that I put in there. And if you have some at home that you use, that's fine too, but you can use the ones that I gave you. You're going to need a ruler. You're going to need a pencil. And sometimes I like having a little extra eraser like this because sometimes these ones right here, I get a little bit of aggressive, but this kind of helps a little bit. And then you're going to need some sort of black marker. You can use a Crayola marker. If you like yours to be a little thinner, you can use the flare tip pens, or you could use a black Sharpie. In my picture right here, I used a black Sharpie. I kind of wanted like a medium looking black lines around everything. This would make your black lines a little fatter, and this one would make them a little skinnier. And the final thing that you're going to need are crayons. I've got crayons in my little buckets. And then you'll also need your folder that you're going to use to put it back in. This one says Monday Literacy. So this has nothing to do with art, but just wanted to give you an example of the folder. Maybe your bring back to school folder you could use. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to look at what our picture is, and these are some examples of what fourth graders can do. Some of them, a lot of these kids used markers. I'm not a huge fan of the marker. Kind of feel like it doesn't give you as much detail when you want to do like your eye color or your hair color or your skin color, things like that. So, and we'll put this up in our classroom. So the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to need my ruler and I'm going to need my pencil, maybe my eraser, but I'll put that off to the side. And I'll need to put my paper into 8 sections. But here's the real deal. You have to make sure that your lines that you draw right now are super duper 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 light. Because on here, unless you looked really super closely, you wouldn't even notice that I had those lines drawn. You can kind of see one going across my cheek, but really you probably didn't even notice that until I told you that I drew them. So again, you want to make sure that your lines are really light, but we have to put them in 8 equal sections. So I measure the top of my paper, and this is an 8.5 piece of paper. So when I think about half of 8, that would be 4. And when I think of half of one half, that's 1/4. So I'm going to go find my 4, and I'm going to go to this first little line right here, and this is where I'm going to draw it. Now, if you have it closer to the 4 over here or somewhere in between these areas, if it's all the way close to the 5, then that's too much. And if it's too close, if it's over closer on this side, then you've gone too close to this side. So make it somewhere a little bit after that 4. And then I just put a little mark. I put a tick just right at the top. I went like that with when I measured. So then I can take my ruler and I find that little mark and I line up my paper, make it nice and straight. And I'm going to just barely draw a line going down. In fact, you can't even really see that in the thing that I did. So that's kind of, so you know how light it is. Look at, so light, you can just barely see it. Now I've done the top part up here. Now I need to do those side ones. And I have to make those into 4 equal sections. My goodness. So what I sometimes have to do is, this is 11 inches, and I can't really divide 11 divided by 4, doesn't really work. So I think what I need to do is, I think about half of 11 is 5.5. So I know that that would be about my halfway mark. So I'm going to put a mark at 5.5, coming down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a little bit of a half right here. I know this is the most frustrating part for a lot of kids because it's just not perfectly even, but that's okay. Draw my line really light going across. And now I need to split this one in half, and it's 5.5. I know half of 5 is 2.5. So I'm thinking it's close to like the 3 mark. So I'm going to go kind of close, not quite 3. There we go. And draw my line across. And I think this is about the same thing. So 3, about almost 3, but maybe not quite. Maybe a few little dashes below. And draw my line going across. Okay. I hope you took some time to pause if you needed to. As I said before, my lines are really light. You can barely see them, but there they are. Now let's move on. We still have to do a side half of our face. So what I need to do right now is, I can tell that there's going to be a little bit of space between where I'm going to start my face and that middle line, just a little bit of space. And you're going to notice that you go through almost both of the boxes, and then when you get to the bottom of the second box, you kind of have to start to like making it go down. I'm going to use my little tool right here, and this will probably help. So you can see it kind of coming down. Where this is, you can see this little mark. Oops, I'm going backwards, and I did not mean to do that. I really screwed up, didn't I? Okay, there we go. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to come down, and I can make my marks just a little bit. And as I get to the bottom, right down here, that's when I'm going to start kind of bringing in my chin. And then I have to kind of rest it on the bottom. There we go. The next thing I want to do, once I've done that, is I need to make my neck. That's pretty easy. Just kind of start sort of where it would make almost like a triangle, and I would just draw a line coming down. There we go. At the bottom, I realized that maybe I should have kind of gone like that, like a shoulder or a neck. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I want to draw my ear, and my ear is going to be located in that second box area. So it's just kind of like a long oval. Oh, I can't wait to put earrings in my ears. Maybe you will too. And then I have to draw a nose, kind of as like a hook. Like that. And then there's a mouth. In my picture right here, I did not want to have like a straight mouth like that. I wanted mine to be smiling, but you can choose how you want your mouth to be. Maybe you want yours to smile. I think I'm going to have mine smiling. So I'm going to go up like this, like a half a face. But if you want to do the regular lips, that's fine too. Then we're going to be doing our eyes. So I have to take and put 2 dots on that first line where my eyes would be. Try to line them up in the same spots. Pause if you need to. And now I'm going to draw my eye where I make 1/2 of a eyeball right here, and then I connect it on the other side. Sometimes it helps to do this part kind of light. And then I have to do an eyeball in the middle. And then I have to do like a pupil. And then kind of like they call this kind of like the light spot right here, because that's what makes our eyes a little brighter. And then they put a little mark right here, like where our lid is. You can decide, maybe your eyes are big, maybe they're kind of smaller. So you can sort of decide how you want your eyes to look. The next one is we need to put an eyebrow on our eye and add hair. So kind of that same sort of look. I know sometimes we forget when we just do a regular drawing that we don't usually put our eyebrows on there, but then we realize how ridiculous we look without eyebrows. And hair, my hair doesn't look like that, and yours may not look like that. Maybe you want to put yours with a braid coming down. You can be really creative right here. Maybe you have a ponytail that hangs down. Maybe you have curly hair. Maybe you have buzz hair, or maybe you have, so you have to kind of think about what yours looks like. I have long blonde hair. And it kind of swoops a little bit over my thing. And so I'm going to kind of draw mine going down like that, because I've got long hair. So there's my face. And when I get my colors in there, I'm going to really make sure that my hair looks really good. And now the next part is to put our names. If you like using bubble letters, you're totally welcome to do that. But if you don't really, if you're like, I'm not comfortable doing bubble letters, that's totally fine. And you can just write your name, but make sure that it's going down, that it's not going across where you try to shove it in. That makes sure that your name is something where it's going down. I might have to make my last name a little smaller right now. But I have to tell you guys a secret. I love writing in bubble letters, so I might change mine at the very end. All right, but that just gives me a nice little one. After they've colored it in, you can see that there's not any white space on this paper, that they've colored in their name, they've colored in all of this right here. Their whole face has to be colored in, their lips, their eyes, their eyebrows, and their hair. The only thing that is open is this white part of your eyes, and that's normal. That's fine. You can see that on mine too. It's all colored in, except for the white of my eyes and the white of my teeth. Here are some examples of some other kids your age that did this. Lots of kids added glasses, so maybe that might be something that you'd want to do. Some added earrings. This girl made her lips kind of a little different, and she added like a little thing up here. Some of you are able maybe to add like your shirt. I like how she did rainbow. This girl kind of did waves and sort of rotated her favorite colors probably. Eyelashes, eyebrows that actually look like hair. Wow, this is really cool. This girl had added kind of like her neck bones, and she sort of shaded it really cool. I wonder if she might be a little bit older. Some of these kids added some extra little details. Looks pretty cool. Lots of really cool ideas right here. And that's it. Here's the picture that I'm going to leave you with. And here's the picture of the final product. And it might take you a day or two to do this right here. Don't rush through it. The longer that you take on it, the prettier it can be. I love how this girl right here added some of her favorite things like hearts and her puppy faces and flowers. That's awesome. You've got a lot of time now to do that, whereas when we were in school, I would probably kind of rush you along. So take your time. All right. Have a wonderful time doing your art project.